Hello and welcome to another episode of the AutoTrader Podcast. My name is Wandi Lesishi.
And I'm George Meany.
And we have a crazy episode today. Well, that's at least the name of the episode. The Crazy Car World episode. Because I don't know if you've noticed, but it seems like the industry in the world is not really calming down at all with regards to the automotive space. So I thought maybe we should discuss some of the crazy things that are happening within that world.
I wonder if this happened in the horse and carriage world.
What, like there was like this weird change and everyone was like, oh my God, the world's going crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Probably. I mean, I think it must have been pretty bizarre when you have horses and then, oh my God, an engine, you know, must have been kind of strange.
I wonder what the horses thought.
So did you, starting with a crazy car world, I think maybe we can start with the F1 this past weekend. We're in Brazil, where first and foremost, Hamilton is now a citizen. So he's got citizenship
how
in
did that
Brazil.
work? I heard them refer to that a few times.
So during the week, the presidents in the, I guess let's call it parliament, basically gave Lewis his citizenship.
For what reason?
He's an advocate for Brazil. He's also an Ayrton Senna sort of ambassador.
Okay.
And obviously as a fan as well. So I think he brings a lot of attention to the Brazilian country, and they were just kind of
Okay, so it's a marketing tactic.
Yeah, but a real one, because he has citizenship now.
They're fake marketing tactics.
I mean, it comes from not the best place, perhaps, but I think it has implications for F1 and.
I mean, all jokes aside, honorary citizenship. I mean, if you're a citizen of a country, what does that mean? Let's Google it.
Does it mean you can vote? One, do you have a say in policy, for instance?
Yeah, good, that's what I mean. So citizenship is the relationship between an individual and the state to which the individual owes allegiance. And in turn is entitled to protection. So he can always escape.
You can always, it's like getting a second passport. You can evade tax evasion in
No, don't say that. I don't think so. So really it's he can enjoy the protections of Brazil as well as live there, which I don't think he would do, but where does Hamilton actually live? You're a Hamilton fan.
So he stays in Monaco, but
with Leclerc.
Yeah, with most of the F1 drivers. Max is also there, I believe.
So I'm going to say something really, really
controversial
now.
It's my favorite things to hear. Let's get controversial.
Like really controversial. I was rooting for Mercedes on Sunday.
Really?
Yes.
We got him finally. I've been waiting for this day. I
was rooting for Mercedes on Sunday. And the thought...
Can I ask why? Why? Before we...
The thought crossed my mind that I'm really disappointed in Ferrari just never getting it right.
Yeah.
But despite having probably the perfect car in the beginning of the year.
Yes.
And how many years have they done this?
For Ferrari?
Yes.
Last 12 years? It's been years.
They just can't seem to work as a team.
Yeah.
Okay. Then I was massively disappointed in Leclerc.
Mm-hmm.
Think of the championship, guys. Think of the championship. But when you look at the scoreboard, like switching with Perez...
With Sainz, rather.
Sainz. Switching with Sainz was going to make no difference to where the Ferrari stood.
Yeah.
Nothing.
Yeah. He was saying that,
he was just thinking of himself.
Exactly. He was thinking about himself.
And at that moment, I was like, "Oh, you got to be kidding me! Think of the championship." Like,
if second place for a driver is thinking for the team, some people would argue it, but I think ultimately you can't ask Sainz to give away his race, a fantastic race, fantastic season, or fantastic weekend rather, for the sake of.
I'm not a massive Sainz fan, but
but
at the end of the day, you're running behind your teammate in the race.
Yeah.
You now suddenly say, can we switch places?
Yeah.
Because it's a selfish thing.
Yeah.
It's not for the championship.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's for your
your
standing,
place.
your potential second place, which you're probably going to lose anyway because you're crashing out too much.
Yeah.
and then you must switch with your
using the team as the basis for the reasoning.
You're asking your team to do your bidding for you.
Yeah.
Like, if you want to pass him, bloody pass him on your own merit. That's my opinion.
Yeah, I agree.
So I was disappointed with that. And Ferrari.
Yeah.
So if I had to kind of like, why did I support Mercedes on the weekend?
You're supporting racing at that point, not necessarily you're supporting Mercedes.
Well, it goes deeper than that. So it goes down to Ferrari's just inability to work as a team. It's just very evident. They can't seem to communicate properly. Look at the tire debacle on the sprint race.
Yeah.
It just doesn't seem like they can work as a cohesive team. And Schumacher brought that.
Yeah.
He brought the ability to have them work as a team. And then you have to look at Red Bull. Okay, so why didn't I support Red Bull on the weekend? And there's one simple reason why. I would be, it would be a cold day before I'd support Red Bull, not because they're a bad team. I think they deserve the win.
Yeah.
But because they're not a car manufacturer.
So,
Red Bull's great team. I think they're doing a phenomenal job. I think they've got their heads screwed on right. I think they've got good drivers. I think they've got good strategies and they work well together. But they're not a car manufacturer. Okay. And then you look at Mercedes. This is my personal opinion. You look at Mercedes. They have not complained once this year.
This season, yeah. They just put their heads down.
Put their heads down and they raced. And I for the first time, took my hat off to Hamilton.
This warms my heart.
No, I'm serious. He really acted in a really mature manner on Sunday.
Yeah.
He gave George Russell his best shot.
Yeah.
And you know what the first thing he did when he climbed out of that car?
Let's go hug him.
Besides hugging him,
I don't know what
he congratulated him.
Yeah.
So, well, publicly on the microphone,
okay,
he congratulated him.
Yeah, it's like first and foremost, congrats to
Congratulate
George.
George, you rode a
He
phenomenal
didn't even
race.
say best fans in the world. He even forgot to do that. He was just like,
Yes.
shout out to the team and all
But there's another marker for me that kind of tells me that that's a team.
Yeah.
George did exactly the same thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
So George turned and said, Lewis put me under pressure.
I was actually very annoyed by George. I won't lie. This past
don't screw up my whole flipping positivity around.
No, it's got nothing to do. Look, if I was in his position, I would have done the same thing. But I think if you really wanted a team sort of results, in the first race restarts after the first safety car, I would have liked for him to be a little bit cognizant of where his teammates' position was and how they can defend much better at a later stage instead of only at the reset. George acted in the interest of making sure that he gets a great start at the expense of Hamilton because those two Red Bulls were hungry. Fortunately, nothing bad. There was an incident between Max and Lewis, which, by the way, that penalty was absolute nonsense in my opinion. I think it was a racing incident. But it did put his teammates in a weird position, which would have potentially put him in a bad position.
Well,
Also,
he was racing to win, and
exactly.
look at the mindset, right? It was his first ever win.
100%. I would have done the same thing.
So I don't think he did it out of malice to Hamilton or the team.
It was for the aggression.
It was for his first win, and he saw the opportunity and he took it. And you would have done the same thing.
I would have done the same thing 10 times over.
So if he was ahead on the championship and he was winning, and yes, then I'd play the team game. But it's his first win. I mean, what would you do?
And what a drive! What a weekend! His sprint performance was out of this world, and his race performance.
I'm a really big George Russell fan at the moment.
I mean, I'll wait and see. He's a Mercedes driver, so I'll always support him. But I think we might be having a Nico Rosberg and Lewis sort
next
of
year.
development. Next year.
I think you're right.
And at Red Bull as well. I don't think Perez is going to carry on sacrificing himself and his potential at winning when Max does what he does. And I mean, what he did was, man, that was heartbreaking.
I think Max was trying to prove a point.
Yes.
And
at what cost, though?
Yeah, at what cost? But Max was trying to prove a point that you play ball and I'll play ball.
Yeah.
If you don't play ball, I won't play ball. Now, is that entirely inconceivable?
It's just why is he doing it now? He's already won the championship.
He's got an axe to grind with Sainz having done it to him in Monaco.
That was so many races ago.
I'm not saying it's the right thing to do, but these are high performance athletes.
It's also making the assumption, insinuation that Perez did it on purpose in Monaco, whereas
I think for me that's where the flaw lies.
Yeah,
is if there was a purposeful vindictive streak in Perez. Why am I switching the two? In Perez.
Yeah.
If there was a purposeful vindictive streak in Perez, then I'd say Verstappen would have been justified. So in principle, he would have been justified. Like, don't do this to me, and then I won't do it to you. But
I think it's
tit for tat.
Yeah.
Two wrongs don't make a right.
Exactly.
All of those principles apply.
Yeah.
So I think in the balance of everything, he shouldn't have done that. He should have listened to the team, because I think what he's effectively done is he's stuffed up his leadership for next year.
That's what I was saying. Is in a scenario where you're seeing the Mercedes is now caught up, you're seeing Ferrari is really, really hungry, and they need a win more than any other year. I think next year is really, really important for them. To not have your teammate on your side as well when they've just signed a 3-year contract, it's very, very dangerous.
You know what? You know what he did in that moment?
Yeah.
He told the rest of the team, next year, each one of you, I'll throw you under the bus, potentially.
Yeah. I don't know if it's the culture at Red Bull, but they've always been aggressive. They've always been.
This is Max's old personality coming out, eh?
Let's see what happens.
Remember,
let's see what happens. Yep.
He's like at all costs. So hopefully it doesn't come back to bite him. But I think from a leadership point of view, he never did himself any favors.
Yeah, let's see what happens. We got one more race this season, Abu Dhabi. So that second place battle continues between Perez and Leclerc. So
lovely.
Still something to fight for. Anyways, moving on. That's a lot of F1, but
that's right.
The sport. So I don't know if you've been following what's happening.
Do you think you're going to get me to wear a Mercedes shirt?
I'm honestly at the back of my head. I was like, I know I'm getting George for Christmas. So I don't know if you've been following what's happening on Twitter. So. Obviously a few months ago, Elon wants to acquire Twitter. He's finally done it for $54 billion. But he's made some weird changes, specifically to the verification rules.
So let's talk about the acquisition of Twitter pre what you're about to unpack. So firstly, did Elon Musk want to pull out of the deal?
I have a theory. With regards to that, my theory was he wanted to see what was happening in terms of the inner workings of Twitter before he made a decision, and the only way to do that is to act like you're going to buy it seriously, like with intent to buy it. And I think he saw what he saw, and then I thought he wasn't going to pull out. You
can't do that in an acquisition of a business. You can't bluff, right? You can't bluff saying I'm going to buy it and then pull out just to look under the the hood of the.
How would they know?
Of the business. No, well, you can't. You play games like that and you're going to get burnt, right? So I have a theory, which is close to your theory, but a little bit further down the road. I think his intent was to always buy Twitter. I don't think he changed his mind. His intent was to buy Twitter.
So what was that U-turn that we initially saw?
To generate the chase.
To what? Pull down the price? Like
no, to get them to chase him.
Oh, okay.
Because that's just my personal theory.
As leverage for when he takes over.
So he wants to buy it, right?
Yeah.
Everybody pushes against it. No, you can't. And everybody wanted to cancel the deal.
Yeah.
So what do? You say, okay, I'll pull out. Now, if they were bluffing, they'd chase him and tell him you can't pull out. So he gets what he wants. So maybe he always wanted to buy the thing.
Yeah.
Maybe he didn't really want to pull out. But,
initially he definitely wanted to, but I don't know. It's so hard with these things because you're playing with 44 billion. I mean, that's a game.
I mean, you can't tell me. You can't. All of us can't play. You can't tell me.
That's a new level of game. A new level of kind of.
It's the same game, just a different number. But you can't tell me that his legal team, finance team, acquisition team didn't do their due diligence properly. They must have.
Yeah.
Maybe they found something and then realized, hold on a second. Because I have a theory around well, I mean, it's not my theory alone. This is what I've been reading. There is a theory around his ultimate goal for Twitter.
What's his ultimate goal for Twitter?
Turn it into a payment platform. Because he just acquired x.com, the URL from PayPal.
A payment platform for what exactly? As in like an eBay?
No, like Facebook wanted to do.
Oh, okay.
So is there merit in thinking about Twitter becoming some sort of cryptocurrency payment platform? Because now they're introducing the $8 verified tick. Now I've got a verified tick on my Twitter account, and I went through the rigmarole of getting it. So now I'm going to have to start paying $8 if I want to keep it, and that's okay. I'm not going to be one of those.
$8,
right? It is what it is if it's going to provide value. But what that particular $8 a month is going to set up is the ability to have a wallet in your personal capacity with Twitter. And he's already spoken about being able to, like, I can put money in my wallet and I can transfer it to Wandy. So I think it might become not only a free speech platform, but also a payment platform.
Like in America, I think it's called Venmo, which does exactly that, right? So it is a payment platform where you can transact between two people as easy as giving you actual cash.
Exactly. And then the other person can turn that into cash if they like.
100%. So now this problem with this, let's go back to the $8 thing, because I think this is what the story, how we got to this in the first place. So people are now able to become verified by paying a fee, which is that $8.
So which just, by the way, is about 150, 160 rand a month.
Yeah, it's not
cheap.
Insane. Well, it's not insane though. It's not like for people who would never ever be verified, small price to pay if you're an influencer.
It's almost the price of Netflix.
Tracer. Yeah, but if you're an influencer, that's not like a game changing amount, or an aspiring influencer at least. Now the problem with this is that a lot of people have now started to take advantage of this by impersonating themselves as brands. So I make a Twitter account with, let's call myself a BMW with an extra space where you can't actually see that there's an actual space, it's just a space. I get verified, and then I start posting as BMW who is verified. I can imagine the damage that this can do, and it's done a lot of damage already for a lot of
there's people trying to game this already.
Yes, they've already done. They've gamed it, even as Elon Musk. There's fake Elon Musk accounts where this Elon Musk is making insane announcements, but people can't see the difference, so they're just sharing this, and it's thousands of. You can imagine that, the
he'll figure it out.
I hope so. But now there's a problem where there's a lot of automotive companies, General Motors, VW, and all of the VW's subsidiaries, so Lamborghini, Porsche, Audi, the works, are all considering leaving. In fact, 3 have already. General Motors, VW, the holdings company, and Stellantis, the holdings company, have all decided to pull out their ad spend. And now Twitter's at a point where basically all their money came from ad spend. So you're having these large companies pull out. What's going to happen to the platform, when everyone else decides, this is not a safe place?
Yeah, I mean, I think we're thinking about it in a binary terms. And there's solutions to these things. Like that blue tick is next to your name. Okay, so if I go onto my Twitter account, the blue tick's right next to my name. Okay, so what you're saying is people are impersonating that,
the blue tick, yeah,
and putting the blue tick next to their name in some contrived way. It's just move where the blue tick is, so that it's in a place where somebody can't manipulate it.
Well, it's not really manipulated; it's paid for, so it's very real.
No, it's paid for, but the fake ones aren't.
No, they're real.
They're also paid for.
They're also
I
paid
get
for. Yeah.
you.
What I think is the solution is you do corporate blue ticks, like a gold tick, to say that this is a company that's verified.
No, but that doesn't make any sense to me because how can you just pay and get verified?
Well, that's exactly what's happening.
Surely you should pay and then prove who you are and then get verified. So there should be a second step in that process.
There should be a second step, but that doesn't exist right now. Or people are getting around that loophole right now. It could be an AI system that's doing it. It could be, you fired about 11,000 people. So, there could be a few reasons why people are getting away with this. But it's happening.
The blue tick guy got fired.
There's one guy who physically goes and checks. Yeah, he's because it's causing a lot of issues, and I think I don't think that the brands are pulling out of Twitter. They're just pulling out of the ad side of things, just because they're losing the audience, which is what ultimately what you're paying for.
No, but their engagement and audience actually went up.
Who, Twitter's?
Yes.
I've heard that's been going down.
I read something yesterday that said that while Twitter's
going through their struggles, people are
flocking back in, engaging more.
Oh, okay.
So maybe it's negative engagement. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, we'll definitely look into that. But for now, big brands are pulling out, and it's going to impact the revenue stream of Twitter, which is not good. Moving on. So I don't know if you saw, but in December, petrol price is probably is going up again, specifically petrol.
But it always goes up in December, right?
Diesel's going down though. So there's good news for everyone who has a diesel engine, but for petrol, it's going up. But I decided to do a little bit of digging to see what is the most expensive petrol in the world, in terms of cost per liter. And of course, there are a few countries here where the cost of living is higher, people's salaries are higher, etc., which is fair. But there are a few nations here where it's like, whoa, people can't even afford this. So I wanted to, top 5. What do you think is the most expensive? Where is the most expensive petrol?
Before I answer that question,
yes,
I just Googled.
This is Twitter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a spike of 20%
engagements.
Daily active users.
Daily active users. So more people have. So they're not losing.
Daily active users. That doesn't mean new users. Daily active. So growth in the daily active user on Twitter spiked by 20% in the first week of Elon Musk's ownership. Now, maybe it's come down since.
Yeah.
This is 7th of November. Twitter has said that user growth is accelerating and hit an all-time high.
I don't believe it. This could be one of those verified.
Twitter installs have grown by 21%. The app installs have grown by 21% since Musk's takeover. So, I think there's Musk tweeted on with a chart showing Twitter's monetizable daily active users has been growing rapidly, up from 240 to 255 million.
I've heard some other news, so maybe we'll definitely need to get some. We need to get a verified source. Who's your source?
Well, these are just Fox Business.
Okay.
A reputable Financial Times, Business Insider.
No, I
The
don't
Verge.
I think there's definitely.
These are all credible sources.
I don't know.
This is not fake news.
You can pay for any story, or not pay for any story, but you can frame a story however you want. I don't think it's smooth sailing in the world of Twitter right now, is what I'm saying. Engagement may be higher.
Not so sure.
But
okay, highest petrol price. I've known for a long time that South Africa's petrol price isn't as high as some other places in the world.
No, not at all. Even the countries which are comparable. In fact, if you look at comparable countries such as India, for instance, our petrol price is almost the same. But what was interesting to me was the most expensive. And you can take your guess with regards to what that is. Where in the world is the most expensive petrol?
Hong Kong.
At almost double our current price. In fact, it's a little bit more than double.
Yeah. So have you ever done the burger test?
And what in terms of how much a burger costs in both countries?
So McDonald's burger price in Hong Kong, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So McDonald's burger price in Hong Kong is double cheeseburger, $24.
That's like $300. A little more than that.
More. Yeah. It's almost $500. What is it? What does a double cheeseburger in South Africa cost?
Double cheeseburger in South Africa, not even 50 rand. Big Mac is 50 rand, for instance. So.
10 times more expensive, right? So 10x for a burger. Okay. So you were saying
fuel's about double, a little bit less.
2x.
Yeah, let's say 2.2x.
So relatively, it's not more expensive.
Also, Hong Kong is the most expensive for a lot of things. I think it's the most expensive for real estate as well. And the cost of living there is, if I'm not mistaken, the highest in general. So, it's 51 rand for the average person in Hong Kong may not necessarily be the most expensive fuel.
Okay, so the way to sort that out is salary per capita in Hong Kong.
Yeah.
So salary per capita in Hong Kong in 2019 was $50,000.
Yeah, it's a lot more than us. I think we're sitting at like...
South Africa's salary per capita in South Africa is 374,000 ZAR. So that's $24,000. So half.
About half, yeah.
So if the average income is half year, doesn't it? And the burger price is 10x.
Maybe McDonald's is just super cheap in Hong Kong.
No, it's not. It's super expensive. South Africa's super cheap.
What, for the burger?
Yeah.
But I'm talking about the petrol price because it's, in comparison where it's just twice the
price. I just think when you look at things like this, it's not a like for like comparison.
Of course not. Of course not. There's a few things that are happening there in terms of why that's the case. But I mean, it's still really expensive. It's not to say that it's
Well, you can't import fuel from there.
Yeah. If you go there though and you try and import petrol, it's a lot of money. Don't take it away from me.
Well, if you go there on holiday, you're stuffed.
If you go there on holiday, exactly, it's gonna be a lot of money. Anyways, before we leave, there's a story that I came across. So in the month of Diwali, which is this year, it was between October 21 to October 27. One of the ministers of one of the states in India decided that he was going to change the rules a little bit. And the reason for this, he wanted to be pro people, and he wanted to kind of, spread love instead of more sadness. Ultimately, during this week, and what he did instead of giving fines to people, I thought was really interesting. Do you want to know what it is?
Mm-hmm.
He decided that instead of giving fines to anybody who makes traffic violations, he's going to give them flowers, which I thought was kind of beautiful. Lots of problems can come out of that.
He incentivized you to speed.
So my first reaction was, wow, I could really get away with quite a few things if you think about it during that week. But I did try to see if there was an increase in traffic violations, XYZ, and there wasn't a massive spike. So at least people didn't take advantage of the kindness of the minister.
Oh, the flowers.
I think South Africa would have a completely
Problem.
different. Yeah.
Okay.
And that's pretty much all the time we have for today. Thank you so much, George.
Go Hamilton and George.
Go Hamilton. Really? What's happening?
Search AutoTrader.